Hi, my friends. It's Nic Leobold at Nic Leobold Live with another video. Today's subject, or tonight's subject, is the silver market and investing in silver. And I want to try to go over all the significant reasons why everyone should have some silver in their portfolio, and why we might be quickly running out of time to accumulate physical silver before the price super spikes up. So I want to go over what I know about silver investing and silver as a commodity and investment and monetary metal, because I think I have some important knowledge and points to add to the discussion. Silver is a very, very, very important industrial metal and is currently used in over 10,000 probably different industrial applications. And almost every electronic product and durable complex product, such as automobiles, lawnmowers, refrigerators, washing machines, and hundreds of other durable goods usually contain some silver. Solar panels use a great deal of silver, compared to 10 years ago when maybe 5 million ounces a year went into solar panels. 10 years later now, the number is at 75 million ounces per year, and solar panel production is growing every year. And solar panel efficiency is almost gaining equilibrium with a lot of other alternative energy sources. So solar panels are a major user of silver, but also there are hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for silver in the medical industry, because silver has a lot of biological and biosanitary properties, and antifungal and anti-biopathogenic properties, which can be safely used in the presence of human and other organisms and animals. So silver is very safe for contact with humans and other life forms, but it also has a lot of biomedical and sanitary applications, which are extremely, extremely important, that only silver has. Of course, silver used to be used in photographic film and development, but that has been replaced by digital cameras for the most part, and digital photography. However, the uses for silver have mushroomed and accelerated, where now silver, as I said, is used in probably over 10,000 industrial applications and industries, and the number is increasing all the time because of silver's unique properties, which include malleability, incredible tensile strength when manipulated and stretched, photovoltaic and photoreflective properties, and also, as I mentioned, the biomedical applications, and also the use in all sorts of varieties of electronics. And of course, silver is an historical monetary metal as well, which means that everyone is always talking about a new future gold standard. But what they usually leave out is silver's role in the market for money. And it's a very significant role, and it's kind of sad that experts often leave out silver's role as money, because there's an old saying that gold is the money of lords and kings, and silver is the money of gentlemen and the middle class, or something along those lines. And silver is much as right now is much more affordable than gold. Obviously, the price of silver is hovering around $19 or $20 an ounce, while gold is all the way up to $1,350 an ounce. And I noticed that platinum is also accelerating its rise and starting to catch up to gold. But platinum is still several $100s under gold. But silver is very affordable, and the usefulness of silver in industrial applications is probably why the price of silver is going to accelerate and rise much more dramatically and much further than gold will rise in all likelihood, because gold really, the amount of industrial uses and applications for gold relative to the size of the gold stockpile is much less in number than the number of uses for silver, which amounts to more than 10,000 uses and growing very, very quickly all the time relative to the size of the silver stockpiles, which mostly have been exhausted. Most of the silver ever mined in the world is in garbage dumps, in old electronics, and used up in old film developing, which is unrecoverable. And the actual annual use of silver outstrips the annual production, and that gap between annual production and annual usage is probably going to widen in coming years, especially with all the new applications that are being invented for the use of silver. So I know that experts like Ted Butler have said that at some time in history, silver could be as valuable or more valuable per ounce than gold, which is very dramatic to think about that if gold goes up to $10,000 an ounce or even $50,000 an ounce, as some economic forecasters are predicting, if precious metals replace fiat currency for the world monetary system, it's very dramatic to imagine that if gold went up to $10,000 an ounce, that silver could also be $10,000 or more per ounce. But it's highly possible and actually quite likely that silver at some point in the future will be as valuable or more valuable than gold. And considering how cheap silver is right now, and the gold-silver ratio right now, which I think is hovering around 70, the price of gold to the price of silver is a 70-to-1 ratio right now, or around that ratio. So it's a good time historically to buy silver versus gold, because the historical ratio is around 14. So silver has a long way to go up in price before the ratio returns to 14-to-1. And considering the fact that experts have said that silver stockpiles and silver mines are being depleted at an ever-accelerating rate, and that the natural stockpile in the earth of silver in the Earth's crust is becoming harder and harder to mine, and harder to get the silver out of the ground at an economic rate, that the gold-silver ratio could eventually go down to 10-to-1 or even maybe 6-to-1. I've seen a figure of 6-to-1. And considering that it's 70-to-1 now, and it could go down to 6-to-1, and eventually it could be as valuable or more valuable than gold itself, is a very, very, very impressive and dramatic investment proposition. Of course, I believe in gold and silver and precious metals. I don't believe that it should constitute your entire portfolio. That would be crazy, because at some point the silver and gold boom and bull market is going to end, the price is going to spike up, but then the price is probably going to fall back again. And so you should not invest, all of your money or 50% of your money in precious metals. But on the other hand, the bull market is just beginning. So a significant investment in precious metals is not unreasonable, in my opinion. And of course, I cannot offer personalized financial advice or recommendations because I am not a licensed whatever, and I don't have any financial licenses. But I have studied the precious metals market for about 15 years or 20 years, and I have a lot of incidental and casual knowledge and anecdotes about the silver market and the gold market because of how much I read various articles that on Kitco and other publications, all the commentaries on Kitco. Kitco is a very good resource. The Kitco.com website is an excellent resource to read a variety of commentaries on the precious metals market. But continuing about silver, so silver has a lot of industrial applications, and it's also an historical monetary metal, and it has a future as a monetary metal, as I said. And as I said, all the experts usually, when they're talking about a gold standard, they leave out the part about the silver standard, because in U.S. history, in American history, for the most of the time, it was always a gold and silver standard. And silver played an important role and can still play a vital role in as a real money currency with tangible value and all the characteristics that real money has to have. There are 7 or 8 characteristics that all money has to have, such as being easily divisible, like gold and silver are, such as which is fungible, such as being portable, such as retaining tangible value and inherent value, etc. And you can buy books about silver investing, which give you all the facts spelled out. But I have interesting anecdotes that I want to share, and that's why I'm making this video. Another interesting thing I read was about gold, but I think it also has relevance to the silver story, which is that the Fort Knox was audited several times in the past 60 years. Most recently, in the 1970s, Fort Knox was visited by a congressional delegation. And I think the story is online. You may be able to find it if you spend a little time searching for it. Because the story was written up in several precious metals newsletters and columnists. But a congressional delegation visited Fort Knox, and they broke the seals on one of the rooms in Fort Knox and examined some of the gold bars. They said that some of the gold bars in Fort Knox were of lower quality. So, and we don't really know. Fort Knox has not been officially audited formally with a formal official audit, I think, since Eisenhower, which was in the 50s. I think that it might have been audited during Eisenhower, but that's the last time that it was formally audited. And maybe it's really time that the government audited Fort Knox. Of course, regarding silver, the U.S. government used to have strategic stockpiles of silver, but they sold all of it off, and they no longer maintain a strategic silver stockpile. The U.S. government does make silver eagles, and by law, the American silver eagles must be made from U.S. sourced or American sourced silver mined from American mines. they're discussing changing that requirement because they're running out of American eagles every year. The demand is so fantastic for silver eagles that they're discussing using foreign silver to be able to make enough to sell, because they're constantly running out of supply. Which shows you that a lot of people are aware of the value of silver and how important a metal it is. Probably more important than gold, because as I said, it has 10,000 plus uses, and gold doesn't even approach that many industrial uses. Silver is literally, absolutely a miracle element and a miracle metal, and probably much more valuable than gold in an industrial and practical sense. Which is why, as I said, it's being used up so quickly that there's a gap in production and usage every year, and the gap is growing bigger, and the supply of silver is growing smaller, and it's getting harder to mine every year because the easy mines are quickly running out of silver, and the harder silver is all the way deep down, if it's there, deep down in the Earth's crust, where it's much, prohibitively much more expensive to mine and get out of the ground when you go really, really deep. So we're running out of silver, but we have tens, like now we're approaching 20,000 uses of silver, or whatever the number is, because it's increasing every week, that they're finding new ways to use silver in very, very valuable ways. So silver is just an outstandingly valuable commodity. And what else do I want to tell you about silver in this brief video? I don't have any notes in front of me, but I'm just going from anecdotal memory. So I've covered the fact that silver, the gold-silver ratio is at almost an all-time high of around 70 to 1. And I've covered the fact, or the educated probability, that at some point in the future, silver will be equal or more valuable than gold itself, which could mean that each ounce of silver, which is currently at $20 an ounce, could realistically at some point in history be $5,000 per ounce, $10,000 per ounce. Some people are saying that gold, if the international monetary system was rebooted, that gold could even be $50,000 an ounce. Well, if that's true, and silver is provably, factually much more valuable industrially than gold. I mean, imagine if gold was $50,000 an ounce. Imagine silver at $50,000 an ounce. I mean, it sounds unbelievable, but I mean, when you think about the facts, it's actually possible. It's actually comprehensible. That's if silver could be as valuable as gold, imagine how valuable it could be. Because an optimistic forecast for gold at $50,000 an ounce, well, the fact is silver is more valuable than gold. So just imagine silver going over $10,000 an ounce, $15,000 an ounce, $20,000 an ounce, $25,000 an ounce. I mean, it's like oil. Oil went up to $150 a barrel, or $170 per barrel after the around the 2008 after the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, and then it fell back. But for several months, I think it was over $150 a barrel. And oil is I mean, there's many arguments, some disputed, but there's many arguments that peak oil has already passed, and we're gradually running out of oil. Well, the same is true for silver. The same, but even more so because of the unbelievable difficulty and expense and complexity of mining. Mining is such a volatile and difficult industry, and involves so much use of so much energy and investment and and effort and labor and machinery and logistics in remote locations to get silver and other mining commodities out of the ground. It's so prohibitively expensive. So silver is even a more pressing problem than oil will ever be. And I don't know if anything can replace silver. And there's no way, realistically, that we can artificially make precious metals. I mean, you're looking at technology that's far, far into the future, maybe 50 or 100 or more years before we can synthetically make gold and silver and other elements, metallic elements, because the only way that we can make gold and silver artificially is with giant atom smashers and particle accelerators. Like, for instance, in Switzerland, they have the largest particle accelerator in the world, which is used for atomic research and particle and chemical research, where they can accelerate atoms and electrons at super hyper speeds and collide them. And they're actually able to make some gold and silver, but the price to make gold and silver currently, I think, is around $260,000 an ounce, or some outrageously expensive figure. When you think about it, it's actually not that high a figure. I mean, if gold could go up to $50,000 an ounce, if we revalue the monetary system, but then you can make it in a particle accelerator for $250,000 an ounce. So that's less than I would think. But I mean, the cost of running the particle accelerator it's incredibly expensive. It involves, probably gigawatts of electricity, the whole infrastructure of the particle accelerator, which spans numerous miles underneath Switzerland. So the difficulty of synthetically manufacturing gold and silver is not going to be solved for another 50 to 100 years. And meanwhile, we need a lot of silver, and the supply of silver is quickly going down. So I made this video because I'm somewhat of a gold bug and a silver bug, and I get a kick out of reading about gold and silver and precious metals investing. And I've done my good share of investing over the years, some successful, most unsuccessful. I've learned a lot about investing. I think that in the future I'm going to be much more successful in investing, and I think I'm going to make another video about investing on YouTube. But I also like making YouTube videos, and I think I have a lot of anecdotal knowledge to share and viewpoints to share. So I make a lot of political videos, but I also know something about the precious metals market because I'm reading about it all the time, and dabbling in a little of it. What I can afford. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think I'm going to do a part 2 of this video when I think of more points that I want to add. But the main reason I made this video is because I'm enthusiastic about precious metals investing, and I think everyone owes it to themselves to have some precious metals in their portfolios. And I think at this time, when we're entering the second leg of the bull market, which started around 1999 or 2000, this leg is probably going to be more dramatic and more powerful by a large factor than the previous leg. And in the coming years, in the coming several years, we could see gold go up to $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce. I mean, if they revalue the monetary system, the sky's the limit. If they base the monetary system on gold, the sky's the limit. And there would be an absolutely unbelievable shoot up in the price of precious metals. So I think everyone owes it to themselves and their family and their loved ones to have a significant allocation towards gold and silver. Silver is an even better buy right now than gold, but silver also has some drawbacks versus gold, so it shouldn't be all of your portfolio. For instance, some of the drawbacks of silver is it's much less valuable currently per ounce. So in order to invest in an equal amount, dollar amount of silver, you would have to buy much more silver, and it would be much harder to transport and store or hide, or however you want to keep it, than gold would be. And if you had to travel with your precious metals or move, and you had an equal amount, dollar amount of silver or gold, it would be much harder to move the silver than it would be to move the gold, because at current prices you can keep a lot more dollar value in a smaller amount of gold versus silver, because gold is, as I said, it's like 70 to 1. The price is like 70 to 1. So it takes 70 times the amount of silver to store or transport the same dollar value of gold. So silver also has some drawbacks for investing and storage, which I might get into in part 2 of this video series on silver. But I hope you found this video interesting. Please like it and share it if you got something out of it. And please leave comments below, because I love comments. I love free expression and free speech, and I try to answer relevant comments, or I try to answer valuable comments. So please leave comments below if you want, because I leave the comments section open all the time. Thank you for listening. This is Nic Leobold at Nic Leobold Live. Have a great rest of the weekend and a great week, and I'll be back with more videos hopefully soon. Thank you, and good luck.